It was in this very square, which for the most part is surrounded by a mystical silence, that on October 19, 1983, one of the greatest periods of Grenadian history ended under tragic circumstances. It not only signaled the end of a glorious revolution, but it signaled the opening of wombs for many of the families whose loved ones have since yet not been recovered. But the society and politics of Grenada had since moved on since that tragic episode in 1983. And today, the government of Grenada has sought to establish the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, their main aim to help bring closure some of the tragic events that occurred in Grenada between 1976 and 1991. Welcome back. Tuesday, September 4th, 2001 was the day that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was installed after being sworn in by Governor General Sir Daniel Williams. The Grenadian Commission follows the one established in South Africa after the dissolution of the apartheid system. In South Africa, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission investigated 7 key areas that were prominent features of the apartheid system: the armed forces, the media, political organizations, the police force, the private business sector, churches, and racially motivated social groups.
We do consider the establishment of this commission into certain political events which occurred in Grenada during the period 1976 to 1991, and in accordance with terms of reference of our commission. Mr. Chairman, I am sure that we will succeed. Speaking for myself, I am sure because I am a friend of Grenada and of the people of Grenada.
And so I look forward very much to my membership of this commission. I believe we shall have a lot of goodwill, because there's been a lot of expectancy about this, and now it's come. And we should not sort of marginalize it or be cynical about it. I believe that we are here to help to fashion the future history of this nation and to determine its image abroad. You know, when I travel abroad, and I travel quite a bit, they say to me, well, has Grenada settled down? This is in 2001. We got to clear up that image abroad.
The fact of the matter is that to a very large extent, the heart of Grenada is still bleeding, and its soul is still wounded as a result of some of those unfortunate events. In light of this, it is necessary and vitally important to get to the bottom of what happened and why they happened.
I hope that people would take advantage of this opportunity and come before the commission. As the distinguished chairman said earlier, we are not a court of law, neither are we on a witch hunt. So we hope that persons would come forward so that we can find out the truth of that period in our history and report accurately. I feel very honored to be part of it, and as I said before, I would do my best to discharge my duties. My duties involve facilitating the overall functioning of the Secretariat and the running of the commission, receiving the memoranda, and inviting persons to come forward to give evidence orally as well.
Immediately after the announcement was made concerning the TRC, citizens who have been affected in some way by the period under investigation have responded.
I don't welcome it at all. I think it's a waste of time and a waste of money. I think that to have what is called a Truth and Reconciliation Commission at this time would create more division in the society than it will ever heal or close. And I think that what people should be doing or thinking about in terms of reconciliation would be to forgiving, forgetting, and giving people, as it were, time to recollect their own thoughts as personal experiences rather than try to open the wounds, especially in the years between 1979 and 1983.
I think it is long overdue. I think that the Grenadian people have an opportunity to really come forward because there are a lot of Grenadians who have information, who over the years have been scared to come forward. They have been so hurt and so demoralized by the events of October 1983 that they have never really spoken about these events. I think that the opportunity that is being given now would be part of the healing process. Because when you undergo psychological trauma, the kind that we have undergone um, in October 1983 and beyond, the process that is unfolding now is one that would give Grenadians an opportunity to speak about it, to let off some of that pent up emotion that they had over the years. And certainly the truth will set us free. And at the end of the day, Grenadians would feel a lot freer within themselves in terms of having unleashed that energy by giving information and giving the country a chance to really go forward.
My husband was killed, but at least I got his body to bury. And I satisfied. God knows best. At least I think our Lord, my people was not our Lord, but he was crucified. But still, his mother got his body to bury. That's what I know. I heard. I was taught. Okay. Mm. I can't say anything more at the present. Now there's too much to be said and too much pains.
As outlined in the terms of reference of the Commission, the period under review starts from January 1st, 1976 to the 31st of December 1991, with specific emphasis on the Grenada Revolution, March 13th, 1979 to October 19th, 1983.
The trauma of that horrific period is deeply implanted on the minds of many of us. It was a period when brother fought against brother, sister against sister, and friend against friend. Many questions pertaining to that period 1979 to 1983 still remain unanswered. It is hoped that the Commission will be able to find some answers to those questions. Careful note must be taken of the main objectives of the proposed exercise of the Commission. The Commissioners are mandated to A, seek to uncover the truth, B, to provide the nation with a proper and comprehensive understanding of those political events so that any mistakes made in the past may not be repeated. And I repeat that. To provide the nation with a proper and comprehensive understanding of those political events so that any mistakes made in the past may not be repeated.
At the press conference that followed the launch, one of the immediate questions to be fired at the members was whether or not the United States of America, Cuba, and other outside influences involved in that particular period will be summoned before the Commission to give testimony.
We, of course, would have to learn some lessons from the South African situation. But of course, it is also very likely that we will take into account the peculiarities of the Grenadian situation, which of course is very important to do so. Members of the public or anyone who considers, whether in Grenada or out of Grenada, as you mentioned, who feel that they can cast some light upon the events that happened and are willing to share this information with the Commission, will, of course, be welcome to do so. I understand that that advertisements will be placed in the public media inviting persons to submit memoranda and to come forward to give oral evidence. We hope and we expect that, of course, these advertisements will be seen both in Grenada and out of Grenada.
I think the process would not be complete if there were not some kind of involvement of the Americans and the 17 who are in prison. It would also not be complete without some involvement from the Cubans. So if you're going to get at the truth, it must not be a half-hearted truth. It must not be a watered-down truth. It must be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And all of the key players who are involved in that period must be given that opportunity to come forward. But I don't know how we are going to get the Americans to do so if they are unwilling to participate. But I'm certain that from the point of view of the Cubans, if I may speak to on their behalf, I'm sure they'll be willing and ready to give any kind of information that would be required of them to ensure that this process is a completely impartial process and that at the end of the day it helps the Grenadian people to go forward.
We've had ample evidence that after the shooting on the fort, soldiers took the bodies down to Calivine somewhere. They were burnt and they were buried in a common grave. We know that. If anybody say otherwise now, then we have to accept that what was said before was a lie. And I don't think that's valid because that came out in the case. It's properly documented. The story was that after the Americans came, after the 25th of October, they got certain remains down in Calivine. You know, the readers know, the public knows that those remains have been tested. They were brought back to Washington. We had endless reports. 2 years ago, we had the college boys doing some sort of a research, and they said they found bones in the cemetery. Oh, come on. All sorts of scientists, forensic and otherwise, have had to deal with it. What truth that could tell us now any particular bone belonged to Maurice Bishop or Norris Bain or Jacqueline Cleft? We are not making sense.
We also do not know about the documents that the United States took out of Grenada. Very important pieces of our history. Documentation of what took place in Grenada in that period. Why were they taken away in the first case? And why have they not been returned since? All of these are lingering questions that need to be answered. Who gave the orders for the people to be liquidated and brutally executed on Fort Rupert in October of 1983? All of these are still questions that need to be answered for the benefit of the Grenadian population. I believe that these aspects surely can be put to rest. Surely they can bring some closure, but the fact that the bodies have never been identified, we have never gotten any closer up to this point, despite all of the hype a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, at the close of the last millennium, when we believed that there was some information leading to the recovery of the remains. Up to now, 2 years have practically passed, and we still do not know what happened in the cemetery, what remains were recovered from the cemetery. In fact, what happened to the remains of Maurice Bishop and others is a modern-day mystery that has to be solved at some point in time.
Brother Robert Fanovich, the current principal of the Presentation College and the school that housed many of the revolutionary figures during their adolescent years in school, has been working on a project for the last 2 years. His project is to help in the healing process of the nation by seeking to find out what exactly happened to the lost bodies, shared with us his own thoughts and feelings on the commission.
I'm concerned about the effectiveness of the commission. Not that I doubt the sincerity of the commission, but from my experience and in working on a project to bring closure to the events of 1979 to 83, there is still a lot of fear in Grenada. People are just not willing to come forward. And I'm talking about somebody who has been working for 2 years on a project, trying to get facts, trying to put the pieces together. I still find there is a lot of fear and hesitancy in coming forward with facts and information.
What we are going to do here is dig up old muck. A lot of it going to be hearsay. People who were not there, unless you were a soldier at Calivini. How could you give the truth? Even though you were one of the crowd at the fort. So what? Guns fired and people ran. Where is the truth from anybody now coming and say they saw this or they heard that? It doesn't make sense. And I don't believe that I'm not saying the Americans were not involved in certain things. I don't know, I wasn't there. But you'd have to have their soldiers to give you that truth, not our people. Because I don't think they had our people with them when they were doing what they were doing at Calivini.
Our focus really has been primarily to bring peace to the families, and we think that one of the burning questions right now is what happened to the body of Maurice Bishop and his colleagues. They mysteriously disappeared in 1983. And we have been working on that for 2 years, and we are making some progress. And soon we are working on publishing a book with the findings. I am hoping that the commission would benefit from our findings and our research for the past 2 years, even in terms of the body bags that were discovered in December 1999. And what came out of that, I'm sure many Grenadians would like to know, many international figures would like to know, the international community would like to know. And I think many people would also like to know what happened to their former prime minister, what happened to Jacqueline Kreft, what happened to Hailing and Brat Bullen and so on.
Another concern raised by the public and affected individuals is whether or not the Grenada 17 would be summoned before the Commission, since they too have been an integral part of one of the key periods under review.
Everybody who you hear talk about this now, the two issue is the guys in jail and the guys in jail. Nothing else. You might seek Phyllis Code as a second issue, but that has nothing to do with truth and reconciliation. That is people having, there's two sides. If you accept that Code and others should be released, you're on one side, as I am. If you accept they should stay in jail for the rest of their natural lives, that's the other side. That's a matter of opinion. No truth, no evidence from no one could change that.
The big secret is I don't know. The big secret is I would like to know. That is the secret. That is what worries me now. Why are they telling me something else now? Don't tell me nothing else. I'm sorry. The people up there don't know the truth. They don't know what they done with Maurice's body. No? If they can't say the truth, why I must say I don't know the truth? All the people that was on the fort that saw and things like that, they saw and they heard. A lot of people heard. When I was after they killed Maurice, they came to this house. They ransacked, they took what they wanted. If I was there, I would have been killed. My brother took me away. When they came the evening and they told me Maurice was released, I did not know what was taking place after until the night when I heard Austin on the radio talking about the curfew, and then they give us 1 day after to go and shop. The day I went to a food fair to get something, I saw a lady with a bag of onion, a pound of onion in her trolley. I said, well, if I had seen that, I would take one too. She said, Mrs. Bishop, you are more deserving. And she gave it to me. I know that lady.
The 17 on the Hill, they have valuable information that would certainly shed a lot of light on what took place on the fort, what took place even prior to that fateful day that led to the demise of our revolution and the physical liquidation of one of the finest prime ministers and probably the finest prime minister that this country has ever produced, and whose remains up to now we don't know anything about. The Americans certainly would be in a position to provide some kind of information that would lead to the recovery of these remains. I believe that they have some information that has not been forthcoming in the last 17 years. And maybe that commission would be given that opportunity to get at that information, and particularly as it relates to the involvement of the Americans in that whole process. Because a lot of these things did take place, the disappearance of the remains, after the Americans came in.
Persons from all over the country, and indeed Grenadians abroad, would be free to participate. There's a 6-month period for the inquiry, and there is a period of 3 months for the report thereafter, giving the Commission a reasonable time span in case the time limit isn't met. But I look forward to the full participation of the public, truthful evidence, full disclosure.
If people don't have some kind of guarantee as to their safety, as to what will happen after they give evidence, they just will not come forward with it. I think there are a lot of people who know quite a bit, but are really afraid. And we have to remember that Grenada is a small place. And I think that people are afraid if they come forward with information that they will certainly be criticized, if not persecuted. So I think the Commission has to look at that, you know, what sort of guarantees would people get if they come forward with information?
Don't go there.
You are a technocrat. I mean, you can speak to whether or not it was appropriate or inappropriate for that to occur. Would you have done that as a permanent secretary?
Politicians get the information from wherever source that they can.
That's going to be the extent of your answer.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
There's a lot of noise around the data protection bill that, in my respectful view, is not warranted.
I was one of those making noise, and it's simply because I was concerned about that specific section 33.
Don't go there.
Are you going to be offering yourself up as political leader of the party?
I see you've called me here for much more than diplomatic passports. I don't buy that.
Don't go there.
What is the relationship like between you and your leader, Dr. Mitchell, your boss, Dr. Mitchell?
I'm not sure how to explain how to answer this question at this time. I prefer not to answer.
Don't go there.
They said that you approached the bank for the loan before the election and that it only materialized after the election. There are also conflicting reports around the quantity of monies that were received. What is the reality here?
People try to extort the truth and to make all kinds of things about it. I just stay quiet. So if you notice, I was really and truly quiet about the whole matter.
Well, except with not with the New Today newspaper. The New Today newspaper reported on this, so I'm not too sure you were quiet on this. Go ahead, Honorable. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just trying to answer your question, right?
Don't go there.
I think we just spoke at length about the regularization framework. So
yes, we did. But let us talk, Prime Minister. Let us talk about the workers who are dismissed.
The Bub Report. We go there.
Our major task at this moment is to protect and defend our country against any attack by imperialism. Anyone who seeks to demonstrate or disturb the peace will be shot.
So I look forward very much to my membership of this commission. I believe we shall have a lot of goodwill, because there's been a lot of expectancy about this, and now it's come. And we should not sort of marginalize it or be cynical about it. I believe that we are here to help to fashion the future history of this nation and to determine its image abroad. You know, when I travel abroad, and I travel quite a bit, they say to me, well, has Grenada settled down? This is in 2001. We got to clear up that image abroad.
Before the break, the question of the Grenada 17 was raised and whether or not they would be part of the process. However, in an interview with the Grenada Broadcasting Network 9 months ago, one of the leading revolutionary figures, Bernard Cord, accepted full responsibility for the events of October 1983.
I still don't understand why there's so much reluctance to hand over the remains. What is the big secret? What is it really behind it? I still don't understand. Of course, I don't know where it is or whatever it is, but there must be something somewhere. Well, I thought the word apologize was inappropriate. If they had said they were sorry, it would sound more appropriate. I mean, if you mash somebody's foot, you say, I'm sorry. You apologize. Well, you could say, yes, you apologize. But to kill somebody and say you apologize, that's not good enough. That's not good enough.
And one of the key events that is expected to come under the Commissioner's microscope is the 1976 murder of Rupert Bishop, an event that historians consider to be as helping to create necessary conditions for the 1979 revolution.
We're trying to imitate here, or piggyback, if you like, on what happened in South Africa. And I don't think the same things apply. In South Africa, we are talking of centuries of racialism, apartheid, the most devilish kind of policy ever. What happened in Grenada was political. It's pure and simple. The Gary regime was being opposed by the Jewel from 1972 until 1979. Gary regime was overthrown by coup d'etat, revolution, call it what you like. The revolution destroyed itself because it was wrong itself by the things it did when people expected it to live up to the promises we made, and I accept I was part of it when we made those promises, and they didn't. And as the good book says, evil might go on for long, but it can't go on forever, and it destroyed itself. I don't see why we have to go after 18, 19 years and put people in a public forum, which everybody listening to me must know. Once you give those people the opportunity, it's not going to be truth and reconciliation. It's going to be revenge, vindictiveness, hatred. In other words, people are going to be getting their own back, and this is not the time.
I know my husband was killed, but at least I got his body to bury. And I satisfied. God knows best. At least I think our Lord, my people was not our Lord, but he was crucified. But still, his mother got his body to bury. That's what I know, I heard, I was taught. Okay. I can't say anything more at the present now. There's too much to be said and too much pain.
The object of the exercise is not to force anyone, because if you're getting at the truth, most times if you exercise other measures, you don't get at the truth. So as indicated also, it's not a court as such, and although the commission could regulate its own procedure, they would prefer voluntariness and persons coming forward with the truth and not by any coercive or other means be forced to give evidence. So basically the objective is full cooperation of the public, recognizing the value of the exercise for the nation as a whole and coming forward voluntarily.
Well, the instruments do state that the hearing will be for a 6-month period or within a reasonable period thereafter. Also, the report is earmarked to be for over a 3-month period, but within a reasonable period thereafter.
But I hope enough people would have enough sense that they don't go there and try to make the thing worse than it is by using what I assume is going to be a lot of it, this gossip and hearsay, and try to make it look as though it's truth. Truth is a funny word, and the fact that people take an oath has nothing to do with truth. I mean, I know this. I'm in a courthouse almost every day. But what is sad about that is there are still 19 or 17 persons in jail. They've been there 18 years. The revolution had 3,000 detainees in prison, and thousands upon thousands of Grenadians took part. You mean to tell me that of all that went on, only 19 persons paying for all that happened in Grenada? Matter for the commission.
With regards to how much the commission will cost, the government has some idea about the estimate, but I am not prepared to make a statement on this at this time.
The terms of reference, when I heard it on the radio or television, said that the commission is going to last for 6 months. It's going to be going around the country, getting memorandum from people in Grenada, even from overseas, because a lot of people have moved. And then you're going to take 3 months after that to write up a report and make recommendations. That's going to be a lot of money. You're not going to have two priests and a lawyer, a renowned lawyer, my good friend Trotman from Guyana, sitting for 6 months plus 3 months writing a report for peanuts. They got to be paid, hotels got to be paid, meals. It's going to cost a lot of money. In my opinion, that money could have been better spent on the schools we have problems with. How many schools cannot open this term because they're in dilapidated conditions? Some that have been built, we've had to be doing other things in Guelph, for example, to bring the school into operation. There's so many other areas we can use that money rather than going and give people an opportunity to be vindictive and to be revengeful, because that's all we're going to get. You mark my words, we are not going to be getting truth. We are going to be getting people trying to wash dirty linens in public and have their own back after all these years.
I also question the period, the 6-month period, because judging from ourselves, we have not been working, I have to admit, admittedly, we have not been working consistently on the project. But reason being that sometimes you set up an appointment for an interview and the person doesn't show up, and you have to wait, or the person goes away, or the person is busy. You have to meet them at their time, and you have to be bold. Most of the information that I have gotten, it wasn't people coming to me, but me making the effort and going to them. And I think it's something that the Commission should keep in mind, that people will not come to them. They have to make the effort to go out and to reach the people. It's a very difficult process. And as I said before, I don't expect long lines outside the Commission office with people prepared to give information. And we're prepared to share with the Commission whatever we know.
I want to know how much money it costs in the government to do that, because I could do it $1 million right now. You see, CD are selling things hard here now. I could do with the money where they take in to do that. If they want to let go them fellas in my book, they could let them go. If they want to lock them up, they could lock them up. All I consider right now, I poor and I want money.
I think closure has to come from when we understand the whole issue of tolerance and, as I said, forgiveness. Closure would not come because people say, I forgive but don't forget. And if we cannot forget, we still remember. So the hurt, the pain is still there, and I believe that we need to take a different trend, a different approach to this whole thing. I think I love you, you love me, and the society promote forgiveness and love and peace and so on. That will going to be a better exercise in this whole process.
Well, this is very important because this thing been lingering for too long, and I personally, I've been a political prisoner and I got 7 AK bullet. Right now, I'm wounded. I have more than 100 pieces of shrapnel in my body. And up to now, I never get the opportunity to really declare what really go on, And many other people who never get the opportunity to declare what really happened, I'm sure they will love to get that opportunity. So that whole movement, what is setting up there is very important. I believe it will really reveal good portion of the hidden facts. So I personally support it. And I also hope that people come forward, not because I was a political prisoner. I have no hatred for no one. I have no intention for no revenge. But the facts must be made straight because plenty of people was accused wrongfully.
In my humble opinion, I feel it's a waste of time, waste of money to bring back they already know what they have to do and they should just get on and doing it. My understanding is that after the trial on the Hill, that all the evidence went to the Privy Council and they reviewed the evidence. And it was clearly showing that the evidence was one-sided. It was taken on one side, it was not a fair trial. And they advised the government, to my understanding, they advised the government that is 2 things that they can do. One is to give these guys a retrial or to free them.
Hi everyone, thanks for checking out the Bud Report's social media pages. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch our weekly live show, follow our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can catch repeat episodes on Wednesdays at 4 and 5 p.m. respectively on CRFM Radio and GBN TV in Grenada. We are also viewed on Sundays at 8 p.m. on WPG 10 throughout the Caribbean. Thanks for watching. Apart from the general population of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, the persons that would want closure more than any one of us are the families of the slain Prime Minister, together with his other colleagues and the other patriotic citizens who would have lost their lives, together with the many hundreds of persons during the period under scrutiny.
I thought, as they say, time heals all wounds, but it's not really true. Time doesn't heal all wounds. It was so brutal, it was so unexpected that sometimes I think it's just a bad dream. But the truth is, as my mom says, we were hoping that we would get remains so that we could have a burial, because that's the normal procedure in Grenada. You bury someone when they die.
Healing has got to be personal. Grenada is a state. It's a inanimate object, if you like. We have to heal. Each of us have to be healed as individuals. It's the individuals that make up the country, the state, whatever you call it. And until and unless, as individuals, we come to accept that we have to forgive people who do us wrong. I have been done a lot of wrong. I spent 2 years and 3 months in jail. I forgave the people who put me there, even when I was there 1 month. I've carried no bitterness. I've carried no vindictiveness. People made mistakes. They were wrong. I knew they were wrong. I came out of jail, I pick up the pieces, I'm on my feet.
Oh Lord, she got fed up because she had loved her father so much. But child, I think that's all. I don't like to talk about it at all, because every year it brings back new memories.
We have 2 priests in it and law, or maybe they might have something from a confessional that might be different from what we get from a judge. I don't know. But I have a lot of doubts about the whole process. I wish it didn't happen, but I can't stop it.
Well, I think it is fair to say that I've been one of the first people to call for some sort of commission into the events of particularly the period of October 1983. I made this call maybe about 2 years ago at Fort George at one of the commemoration activities for October the 19th. And I think what we really need is more a truth commission than a reconciliation commission. If you want to call it Truth and Reconciliation Commission, I have no problem with it. Reconciliation presupposes that we have a lot of deep differences in the society, which polarize the society to the point where we need to reconcile these differences or to come to grips with these differences. I don't believe that is the situation.
According to Senator Lawrence Joseph, the government who will have to rest the final nuts and bolts into place in the process of national unity and reconciliation said